No. Okay. That's a representation of, or maybe a sign of the problem we have. Second প্রশ্ন, যারা এখানে আছেন তাদের মধ্যে উদ্যোক্তা কতজন আছেন, মানে you actually run your own business. Could you kindly stand up? If you could kindly stand up, the ones who run their own business. Okay, thank you. Maybe a round of applause for people who are actually doing a good job with that. So প্রথমত, I think, and I'll switch between Bangla and English slightly. I think we should apologize to the startup community and the youth entrepreneurs at the beginning that we haven't done enough as a government. I think there was a lot of hope, expectation from interim government to do a lot more than what we have delivered so far, especially in this space. That is not because we lack any will to do anything. For the first time, you actually have a youth as a youth minister, so that's a change, right? So there's no lack of will or interest or genuine passion to do something very different. Unfortunately, what you end up doing is prioritizing the immediate challenges you face. You see every morning where you wake up and you forget about making design changes that we should have made during our time. I can talk about BIDA personally, that we have a spectrum of clients. So our clients range from the largest investor in Bangladesh all the way down to possibly this small retailer who is trying to start his business in a Facebook shop. Unfortunately, with the number of people I have, we naturally focus on যেহেতু আমাদেরকে আপনারা সবসময় পেপারে লিখেন যে এফডিআই কত আসলো, এটা বেশি আসলে ভালো, খারাপ কম আসলে বিডা কোনো কাজ টাজ করে না. So we try to focus on a big FDI player who can bring 100 million next time, and Bakira is not our problem for tomorrow. So that has been the political economy behind what has been done by the government. Some of the challenges that were mentioned are all real. One of the big challenges that we all have told you is the lack of coordination within government. For a change, you have three agencies in theory, the Youth Ministry, ICT, and BIDA. Possibly we should have had someone from Central Bank as well. Jara, all of which should be responsible and should be taking ownership in helping the startup community and youth ecosystem. But all of us are thinking, maybe the other guy is doing that job, so maybe I don't have to do it. Or everyone's trying to do the same thing and nothing is getting done. So the 17 recommendations that you gave us today, thank you for that. I can guarantee you we won't be able to do more than 5. If we get to 5, I would consider this event and our time in the government a massive success. So that's the starting point, really. And some of these are actually in the works. So the one good thing about the suggestion list is I do know that we are working on some items that have been picked up before. Bangladesh Bank থেকে recently একটা policy directive issue করা হয়েছে, which at least on the paper sounds like a very forward-looking idea. So now the question is, how do we implement and execute that policy in our real lives? At the same time, there was a conversation around branding Bangladesh. So there is actually a working group working on branding Bangladesh. We have heard about, I remember because Malaysia came up, maybe Malaysia truly Asia একটা সময় ছিল যখন it was a very well-known line, right? So there are many of these kinds where the country went above and beyond to brand itself. So Amra BIDA থেকে we are trying to take an initiative to come up with a proper branding strategy for Bangladesh. You will hear a lot more about it. And we're trying to make it a more democratic event, so we will try to do a public contest and some form of competition to get ideas from the young generation so that we can incorporate some of those into our overall brand strategy. So I go back to this political economy, and this is where I would like to finish because I know that lunch is coming. So in this whole political economy issue, design change kora within next 6 to 8 months, changing how government operates and bringing the entire government, the whole of government in one place structurally is going to be nearly impossible. And therefore my suggestion is, instead of trying to do that, we try to focus on initiatives and specific tasks and actions. So আমার একটা suggestion, and maybe Ashik bhai to you, is, with your leadership, if we can actually form a national committee that has representation from all of our 3 agencies and Bangladesh Bank, which will be led and headed by you. But the national committee will be responsible for taking up all these suggestions that were given to us, and come up with actually a very clear action plan on what they will achieve in the next 6 to 8 months, and come back to the startup community every 3 months with a report card saying যে আমরা এটা করেছি, আমরা এটা করতে পারিনি, এবং এত দিনের মধ্যে we will try to deliver. So there is some form of coordination within government. If you agree to that, then we can propose that as an action item out of this meeting today. So, and this committee should cease to exist at the end of the interim government's period. And and I would also say that we should probably have Chief Advisor's Office involved in the committee, so that we have a super ministry trying to force through the roadblocks within the government. And when it ceases to exist at the end of interim government's period, the political government can come and decide whether they think there is value in creating or having such a committee. But the committee should be able to achieve meaningful progress in the startup or the youth entrepreneurship ecosystem. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you again, everyone, for coming, and we hope to see you again, maybe in 3 months' time, and maybe with some genuine progress from the recommendation list that you gave us. Thank you very much.